Good morning, folks. Pastor Chuck Blair here. Great to have you joining me this morning for our 10 minutes of morning calm. And a beautiful little day ahead of us here. What I want to talk about today deals with light and how light works, and we see light kind of revisited here. Here we're up to day 4 of the 7 days of creation, and we view this story very allegorically, very metaphorically, and that it's a beautiful story about our own evolution, and it's an evolution that God holds. It's not so much a call to what we need to do. It's more of a understanding of, oh, this is what God's doing with our life. Oh, this is what God's doing with our life. So join me with that this morning, and it's a wonderful passage we're looking at. We're going to be looking at over the next couple of days. So here we are, and let's pick that right on up. This is Genesis 1 verses 14 to 17. And God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse of heavens to make a distinction between day and night." There's that word distinction again, which I love. Not judging it, just saying, hey, they're different things. And that they will act as signals and will be used for seasons for both the days and the night. And they will be light in the expanse of the heavens to shed light on the earth. And it was done. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule by day, and the smaller light to rule by night, and the stars. And God placed them in the expanse of heaven to shed light on the earth. Now, there's some beautiful parts there. One is it's not just kind of like this globalized light. This is light that is created. And guys, you can see the metaphor so quickly, right? The analogy so quickly. This is light, one of which is to help us in the daytime of our life, and the other is to help us in the nighttime of our life. So we're going to look at the greater light first, and then tomorrow we're going to look at the lesser light. In other words, we're going to look at the sun, and then we're going to look at the moon. So first off, looking at the sun as that greater light, there's an interesting concept, and it's not one particularly new to Christian New Church faith, though it is very interesting. And that's the idea that our faith, that if we think of faith as what enlightens us and adds light to our lives, it starts out sort of as a historical fact-based faith. And I certainly remember that era in my life, and it's actually a very beautiful time, where it's about the information and pretty much convinced that your information is better than other people's information, and it's sort of faith as an intellectual construct, as Father Richard Rohr would say. It's spirituality for the first half of life. It's very rule oriented, it's very theology oriented, it's very doctrinally oriented. And that's all good. That's a good place to be. And then our faith starts to evolve. And it starts to evolve where we start to understand what this greater light of faith is. And I love this line here that faith becomes a faith born of love. Notice that. It's a faith born of love. It's not a faith born of certainty. It's not a faith born of intellect. It's not a faith born of anything but love. And I think that's where that phrase like steadfast love is so significant in the Bible. It's constantly talking about steadfast love, steadfast love, steadfast love. I think that word steadfast here actually points to this kind of faith. It's just a faith that's just going to keep showing up. It's a trust that's going to just keep showing up because it's coming out of love. And I think of that, folks, right? For those of us with kids or grandkids or relatives that we just know we're just going to show up even when we don't want to. I had that little experience on Sunday. On Monday, I was out at our little cabin. My son calls me up to go out to dinner with my grandson and himself, and it's just putting gas in the car to go back and just have this nice relaxed evening, and it's just, yeah, there's a faith born of love where I know I have to say yes. I mean, I want to say yes, but I know that I have to say yes, and it was totally worthwhile to do, right? That, I think, is where the call is to a faith born of love. And wouldn't it be great if we always followed that greater light? But no, we don't. So a concept I want to throw in on this, folks, was one quote I heard yesterday, and you see me down here looking at it because I want to make sure I get it right. And this is dealing with church, and I think we could apply it to, if you're Jewish, to a synagogue, if you're Muslim, to a mosque, to anything. I think it's really important. What you call people with is what you call people to. What you call people with is what you call people to. So if you hear a faith pitch, so to speak, and it's coming out of salvation, is coming out of the idea that we need salvation because there's an angry God who's ready to send people to hell for all of eternity. That's what we're calling people to. We're calling to that particular image of the world. I don't find that kind of image very helpful, frankly. I think what we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to be calling people with love. And it's not with certainty, it's not with become a member of our club or become part of us because we're the ones who understand it and no one else does. It's not that at all. It's just this beautiful calling to love. And it's in the same way you would invite people to a beautiful Thanksgiving dinner where you found out where there were some folks who didn't have any place to eat that Thanksgiving. Of course, you're going to embrace them and bring them in. I think that's the connotation there. And when we call people with that kind of love, we're calling them to that kind of love. And I think that is exactly what God is talking about here, that God is going to call us with a faith born of love. And in doing so, he's going to call us to a faith born of love. And how that looks for you, I don't know, but I find it such a powerful concept, right? Like what does it really look like to have a faith born out of love? That's really fascinating to me. And a lot of time we put faith first, and really no, love is always the primary end. Faith might be first in time, but love is always the true goal, always first in end. So folks, that's my thought for today for you. I hope that I hope that makes a lot of sense. What we're going to do right now is we're going to go and do uh, a little meditation, a little prayer, a little blessing. I need to be totally honest, as I forgot my phone in the other room, as I want to do. So I am going to ring the bell and then just let everybody just close their eyes and just relax. And if your eyes are closed, you won't notice I won't even be in the screen for the 10 seconds it takes me to run to the next room and grab my phone. So folks, let's get a little breath and listen to the bell as it rings through. All right, friends, in a frenzied back. So join me in a meditation. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his face, his countenance upon you, and bring you home and bring you peace. Amen. All right, friends. So what you can do now is if you would like to leave a comment, you can leave a comment on New Church Live's Facebook page, and I'll be reading it here in a minute. And again, I hope you're all doing well. I hope those of you out in the Midwest are doing fine with this latest big storm on its way, as my phone takes forever here. Oh goodness. Yeah, let's see what else we got going on. Oh, I should mention as well, like this weekend, if any of you do happen to be in town, I know most of the folks on here are not in town, you're welcome to join us for lunch with the pastor. Once a month, we do a lunch right after church, and we just grab pizza, little fellowship, little connection. You're always more than welcome to join me in that when it is going on. All right, almost there, folks. Come on, Nelly. Someone tells me it's time for a new phone here. All right, lots of comments here today. So let's take a look. Patricia, great to see your heart, and I hope you're doing well this morning. Susan writes, "Good morning from ice and snow covered Ohio," and we should add flat and windy, right? With that, Sherry, rain, rain, go away. Yeah, we're in the mud bath here, and there's sort of like a silent war's way too strong a term, but a silent debate as to who gets to walk the dog these days because the dogs come in, and then it's the question who's going to clean up the dog. Oi, 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 oi. Good morning to Rita. Good morning, Rita. Carl writes, calling to, indeed a powerful concept. It really is. I mean, it's fascinating, Carl, actually. The more I was thinking about it, the more I just think it's totally spot on. Um, Erica, you can shoot me a private message if there's something you need particular help with. Uh, yeah, Mary, I'm struggling with all the diversity and hatred I'm seeing in the world. Yeah, Mary, it's interesting. I've had a bunch of people talking about that and seeing me about that it just feels so divisive right now. And we just I just think we really have to step into something different. And I do feel like groups like this are part of it, and it's what makes it so important. Like the Richard Rohr said it really well. He said, "The best critique of the bad is the practice of the better." And I think that's what we need to keep on doing. It's not easy to do though at all. I want to be super clear. Uh, uh, Patty writes, "Love, love, love, unconditional love." Mary writes, "Sometimes love doesn't even begin to cut through it." So it's so true. It can be, yeah, boy, it's like you were a fly on the wall of a conversation I had yesterday because that's what we were talking about. Like some people, it just isn't going to happen. We're just not going to be able to have that. We're just not going to be able to have that conversation, and that's always sort of sad. Marcus, good morning to you, buddy. Linda, have a good day. Lots to think about. Well, I'm glad, 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 glad. Linda writes, "It is sad. I really have to focus on the good." Um, yeah, and that's sort of what we have to do. And there are times, I should say, folks, uh, there are times where we do have to step away. I want to be clear about that. I mean, even as a pastor, to be honest, there's certain things that I've stepped away from just because the vitriol, the angstiness, the toxicity, it's just too much, and it just puts me in a bad place. And hopefully, that changes over time. But for now, there's a couple of situations where it hasn't or doesn't quite feel like it's the time yet. And I got to be careful with that, but it doesn't feel like the time yet. And Rick leaves us on a great word here. I feel love always cuts through, and love. I think it's interesting to think, in the long term, what do people say at the end of the journey? One of the things it's just a little counseling trick that is not no big shakes, totally ripped it off from someone else. But anytime we're in these relationships and the conversations are hard and strained, always want to think, what do I want them to say about this relationship and my interaction with them in this moment 10 years down the road? What do I want them to say, like, right here's this moment. What do I want them to say 10 years down the road? And that's a pretty solid check on our egos. And because I don't want anybody to say like, oh, I knew he was right all along. No, thank you. I just want people to know that we're just here to love each other as best we can and try to stumble and trip on our way home. So with that, folks, thank you so much as always for joining me this morning. And I love these little conversations. I mean, it's really important stuff. I do absolutely at a soul level feel this is how we practice something better, because I know we got a lot of diverse opinions here, and people hold it all with love, and somehow that works. So thank you, folks. God bless. Have a terrific rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.